There we go.
Okay, 4 o'clock. Shall we call the meeting to order? Roll call, please.
Paul Gebhardt.
John Miller.
Ann Zimmerman.
Bruce Richardson.
Larry Penkratz.
Kevin Janaszek.
Request to have confirmation that the Kansas Open Meeting Act required notice has been properly provided.
It was.
Okay, I do that for some reason.
That's all right. That's the reason I think
should
I
take
got
it.
it out of order. Out of it.
Yeah, I should take that out.
Okay.
I would, if I may, I would like to make sure the board's aware that we did send that notification late to the to comply with Kansas Open Meeting Act. It was just sent out just before this meeting. It was sent out. It was not sent to the city clerk inadvertently until just today, but it has been sent, and the COMA Open Meeting Act compliance has been provided.
Do we have yes?
He's a city commissioner.
We do not.
Oh, he is? Okay.
Yeah.
Thought a face was familiar, wasn't sure.
Trent Davis.
Citizens Forum, none. Approval of agenda. Make motion to approve the agenda.
I move we approve the agenda.
Second.
Okay.
We should
Make
vote.
motion for approval of minutes.
Wait, we have to vote on that one. Have to vote on the other one.
Didn't we vote?
No, we just said, moved and seconded.
Thank you for reminding me. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Passed. Approval passed. Approval of minutes. Make a motion of the minutes to be approved.
I motion with minutes approved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Same sign, nay. Activity reports.
Thank you, Mr. Richardson and the board. I typically, as I normally do, and you probably hear me say this every meeting, is that I'll go through a handful of items, but if you have any questions about anything on here, I'm going to mix it up a little bit. I'm going to let Travis start with athletics and field house if he doesn't mind.
Thank you.
And so we're mixing it up a little bit.
Okay, thank you, Jeff. March is kind of a transition for us as far as indoors and outdoors. Very, very busy, especially at the beginning of the March, through the middle March. About spring break is our cutoff time when it comes to the field house. We had lots going on there. If you remember right, we did have a blizzard, right, in February or sometime in there, which backed up our winter programs a week. So we did trickle into that second week of March, which we try to end by February. We just try to be done by that time. But so we have a few of those winter programs, like our youth 5-on-5, adult 5-on-5, trickle into March. We do have our adult volleyball that started in the spring with 31 teams. It's really nice to have high number of teams, and you can kind of separate the caliber of recreation. They're just starting to play, intermediate or competitive. So that's a good plus there. Gwen started a new women's 3-on-3 program, basketball. It's pretty cool. Those women get with it now. So they had some words for us after the first night of play. They were pretty sore, but they're getting used to it. So, but I just wanted to mention that we've tried, and then we try. This is our third time trying it. Third time's a charm. We just moved a night that they were more maybe available to play, and we found one. So that was nice. The turf side is very, very busy in March. You do have a lot of high schools, colleges, youth teams wanting to use the turf. The Salina Liberty, it's so full that Salina Liberty, they come in the mornings and practice. Mm-hmm. So if the TPEC field is not set up, then we provide the practice space for them. So seeing a lot of their faces. Wanted to mention another program. It's an adaptive or therapeutic program that we started, Sarah. It's called Can Play. You can look it up if you want to, but it's a nationally accredited program, and they meet once a week and coming in there, and we might have like 5 weeks of baseball or softball is what we just got done with, okay? And then we'll finish. We'll start another session with soccer, and then we may play basketball, another 5-week session. So we break it out and spread it out throughout the whole year. But that's a really good program. Been pretty impressed so far. Our events, we had 8 events in the Solana Fieldhouse in March, and with only 178 teams. So we were packed. So the biggest ones were our HOA. We had 2 volleyball tournaments there, and then we had our homeschool national tournament, and that was 77 basketball teams. That ranges from middle school and high school. So that's a very, very big event.
What's ND2?
It's basically it's a national homeschool tournament. So they have 2 divisions. So Division 1 and Division 2. So National Division 1, National Division 2 is what I think it stands for. So that's a very big event. They also utilize the Kansas Westland for their final games over there. We play a lot of the play-in games over at the field house, and then they kind of move over to Kansas Westland. Towards the end of March, everybody's kind of hot and heavy to get outside, but it can still be cold out, as you guys know. We do have an indoor baseball and softball tournaments on the same weekend. We make a wall in the middle out of our turf, and it went really, really well. So we get a lot of kudos for that one. USA Softball hosts the softball on the Saturday, and then the Yard comes in and hosts a baseball on a Sunday. I don't know how many of you went to the Match Madness, but we did have that on a Thursday. We thought it was very, very crammed in the lobby, and that's the problems we're dealing with is bigger and higher participation, which I'll take those any day. We're just trying to figure those things out. We moved it to the turf side, and we got a lot of good compliments over there. So I think we found a new home for that event, which is they liked the more space available to them.
What was nice about it, you didn't feel like you were sitting on top of each other.
Exactly.
Very nice.
Exactly. So I think that was a good change. Got a lot of good compliments on that. Bill Burke, we'll move to outside. Bill Burke, we got a lot of colleges going, high schools going in March. Just so you guys know, instead of the come and show up and just first come, first serve, starting in March, we did offer structured practices. They can reserve them since it's turfed. Of course, that's a hot commodity. We got some really good feedback on that. They like the structure, getting used to the price, I guess, paying for those practices. But people and the coaches appreciated it, I think. It was just more organized and structured.
Do you also schedule the tower field too?
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Our first outdoor tournament of the year was USSSA softball, and that kind of starts our outdoor season. A little smaller, but that's okay. That way we know what to work on and get fixed. And then we had our youth soccer teams. They keep improving and increasing. So we had 39 teams for our league here this spring, and Dave Adderkirk, did leave us. I think it was in the fall, and Amy Wyatt took over that program. So she took the baton and she's running. So doing a great job there. I wanted to mention this too. We do offer adult softball. That was one of our last programs. We got back going after COVID, and we only had enough space really and umpires to do that late summer whenever all the youth is winding down. So we started a late summer league and then a fall. This is the first time we've offered a spring for the adult softballers. It's never going to be like the heyday, but they've requested more, and we found some space that we can offer a little co-ed league for them in the spring, and we're gradually getting more umpires. So that's a good sign to see. And then yes, Ann.
I'm curious about the structured approach to reservations for the practices.
Yeah,
Is it an app, or is it just call the office, or how do you do it?
No. So let me back up to that. It was about around that spring breakish time or second week of March. A lot of teams were just showing up and just first come, first serve, and we offered a more structured approach. So they would get with us, and we would reserve them for them. So they knew exactly what fields were open and shut down, and we assigned them slots, and it was just more structured that way.
Do they just call you up, or how do they?
Sure.
Is that how they do it?
Yep. Stop by or call us up, and then we'll schedule them for them.
And to add on to that, we knew that we were going to have more earlier play with having more turf fields. And so based on any season, whether this year, it seems like we had some pretty cold weather in January, February, but some years we might have great weather in January. And we wanted to have a more structured approach because we knew that demand was going to be earlier and earlier because of those turf fields. So Travis was putting in effort to make it more structured and understood by the public to know why we schedule the way we do, what fields are available, kind of a philosophy behind that.
That's about it for me. If you have any questions.
Thank you, Travis. Travis has got to go. I'll pick it up where Travis left off. Parks accomplishments, starting at the top. Jerry Ivy Park, we replaced some swings there. There was a swing set there that the top rail became broke, and that was in the fall, late fall last year, I think, and it was unrepairable. So we felt that was very important just to buy the unit, put it in. Had a delay, of course, because of the weather we had in January and February of getting it into the ground, because it had to be put into a footer and re-anchored to the earth. That was completed. Basketball goals have been remounted at our 3 basketball complexes. Dennis's team had a contractor resurface all those basketball courts, which I believe I reported on before. But we also had all the basketball standards and rims, backboards and rims, powder coated, stripped of the paint that was on there, re-powder coated on the metal rim and backboard, and replaced all those at Sunset, Centennial, and Pacific Parks. Also, they've been pretty busy this spring already with those types of projects, but also Schilling Park. A project we identified at Schilling Park a while back was there's a retaining wall there around the playground, and that we identified this a while back. That retaining wall always had a vandalism issue where people were removing blocks from the retaining wall. And then, so we decided that a while back that retaining wall was really not necessary. So we took the block away, shaved off the earth to make it a little more of a gradual slope so that retaining wall wouldn't be needed. And we can avoid that perpetual problem of vandalism of people removing blocks and throwing them around and things like that. Landscaping, a lot of the landscaping accomplishments are related to spring. As you can see, a lot of turf improvements, a lot of pre-emergent spraying for weeds, fertilizing, mulching, a lot of those items in there, and you'll see a lot of that from this month and from March and from this month for next month. Cemetery accomplishments, you see the pictures there of the new columbariums have arrived, and they're ready to be sold. I believe that's the 4th segment of columbariums that we put in.
So that new site has 4 in place now, and they did open up this year. So that being said, very popular for cremations. So I think they have already sold 6, and they've only been in there for a month. So.
Lakewood accomplishments. Lakewood started to install the observation beehive. There's an observation beehive inside Lakewood Discovery Center, something we talked about with Dennis's team and our Lakewood Discovery Center staff. So you can go inside, not yet, you can go inside the Lakewood Discovery Center and they have a bee display, and it's fully enclosed, so bees coming from the outside interact with the hive that's inside, and then can be able to go out to the out of doors, collect pollen, bring it back. That was in a partnership with, I believe it's a local honey distributor. Really neat. I'm looking forward to getting it in. We're kind of waiting for that bee person in town to help us put it together and do the final touches so we can start accepting bees. I think he would help us put a queen bee in there so bees can come in and start entering the hive, and it's really, I'm excited about it. It's really neat.
Do you have any idea when it will be ready?
I asked the same question, and because I'm excited, and he couldn't give me a date. Brian Underwood, the Lakewood Discovery supervisor. He's waiting on that beehive. But once it does, I asked him to let me know when the final connection's been made and we can start seeing bees inside the Discovery Center. And when I say inside the Discovery Center, it's inside the hive, inside the Discovery Center. It's fully enclosed and safe. But once I do get a time frame, I will let you know. Special events, recreation programming, Neon Night, that was held at the Field House. We used to have an event, used to be called Daddy-Daughter Date Night. Then we changed the name to Ties and Tiaras. We had lowering attendance. That program was, attendance has been going down over time, so we tried to bring it back in a different fashion to be more inclusive to everybody that wants to come and enjoy, specifically family events and kids-related events. We have 51 attendees, something we hope will grow from this point and grow every year. Take self-defense classes. I think this is our second Take self-defense class, and there's a picture there of the 17 participants. Let's see. Travis spoke about field house and athletics events, going to facilities maintenance. And this is just not facilities maintenance, this is also park maintenance. A lot of things that occur this time of year are the de-winterization or opening of facilities that were seasonal, whether they be a drinking fountain or a bathroom, or irrigation systems, anything that's water that has to be winterized because of a fear of freezing is pretty much open at this point. Our goal every year is to have everything open by April 1st for bathrooms and drinking fountains and such. Irrigation sometimes has a schedule and might be a little delayed or have a different schedule. But for public bathrooms, we try to get them open by April 1st. And the highlights from the construction division, Bill Burke North and South shelter houses are open and available to use. And that was done. If you recall, I might have said it before, where we had some columns that were supporting that shelter that had some structural issues or some structural default or faults. We took out that concrete, put in a new footer and a new post to secure that shelter on the north and south sides of Bill Burke Park, redid the concrete, and that is complete at this point.
Let me ask you one thing.
Yes.
How did you do it differently to prevent the rotting of the wood? It says that you installed perma-columns.
Yeah, good question. The how they were installed previously were a 6x6 post into concrete, and there was a footer there, so that post was sitting on a footer attached to that. The post was attached to that footer, concrete footer. The nature of concrete and wood together over time can lead to rot, where the moisture from the concrete and the rain and such goes down into that little cavity in between the concrete slab and that post, which causes that wood to rot. And we recognized that a while back, and we did this project at Jerry Ivy Park 2 years ago to refurbish that one. So we found a product called a permacolumn, which is a structural element called a moment connection, which I'm kind of getting out of my element here. I'm not an engineer, but it is a moment connection that transfers the load of the weight of the shelter to that footer and not putting solely on the wood itself. So it's a metal permacolumn that's inside the footer that's raised above the floor of the shelter and goes up maybe 18 inches or so and connects that to that post. So it's not near the ground, but it's a much more rigid connection. And if I'm not sure how old those shelters are, but 20 plus years old, I think we're going to get 30 years out of this existing shelter based on that new footing system. And then Oakdale North and South bathrooms are continuing to work on that. and the north and south of those older style bathrooms in Oakdale Park, and they're working on those now, and then also picking up work to do the bathrooms near the pickleball complex, with the goal to have the interiors all complete by River Festival for all 3 bathrooms at Oakdale Park, and then having the exteriors done on those north and south bathrooms, which are the older style bathrooms. The exteriors will be completed after Riverfest. But we are doing epoxy coatings inside those 2 bathrooms in north and south at Oakdale right now. I believe it's this week. And we look forward to that in the next couple weeks after they have an adequate amount of cure time, depending on the weather, depending on the moisture, how cold it is, kind of changes how that cure time happens. And very excited about that. I just also wanted to report, again, if you have any questions about anything I didn't cover or anything in the activity report, please ask. But I think we're entering into a few upcoming weeks where we're really busy in Parks and Recreation. We have a lot of events going on. We have next week, we have a miracle game on a Thursday evening at Bill Burke Park, which is a sponsorship by the Yard, and they rent a field at Bill Burke. I think it's field number 3. And a really neat event where we have a baseball, I think we call it a kind of a buddy ball type thing, where children with developmental delays and developmental disabilities can participate in baseball. We started that last year, and we will have more report in April in May from this event this month. We also have the Easter egg hunt this weekend at Berkeley Family Recreational Area. We have the Night to Shine event next week, which we are partnering in and I'm volunteering at. And then also this week, there's also KW, Kansas Wesleyan has track and field events this weekend. But part of that is you being at Sunset Park. They have events at Sunset Park for field events Friday and Saturday for hammer throw and discus and javelin and all those field events. So this will be the first game they've actually had at Sunset Park. So I'm kind of excited about seeing how that park gets used, how Bondi Field gets used. It's kind of an underdeveloped area at Sunset Park, or underutilized, we'll say, area at Sunset Park. So pretty excited about that.
You might explain, it's to the south of really Sunset Park.
Correct, yes, sir. South of Sunset Park, there's 3 ball fields there that are practice fields. And many years, I would say 4 or 5 years ago, Kansas Wesleyan approached us about using a portion of that area for track and field events. The city commission allowed them a license to install field events, I wouldn't say track, but field events such as hammer throw, discus, javelin, things like that, and shot put. Those 4 events, and they use that primarily for practice. But this is the first year I'm aware that they're having an actual event or a game there as part of their overall event, track and field events for KW.
And you also have porta potties out in the parks where they aren't finished yet, the restrooms?
Yes, at Oakdale.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, we have the way our timeline is working out to get this accomplished before Riverfest. And the seasonality of the bathrooms, we wanted to be able, we're going to have porta potties out there for about 3 weeks, and to make the epoxy work and the cure time work, we needed to offer bathrooms, and that's why the porta potty. It's not our intention to continue to offer porta potties at Oakdale Park. It doesn't make the park look good, but we needed to be able to provide bathrooms. Also, there is 1 porta potty at Lakewood Park, and that'll probably be there for some time until after Riverfest, when Lakewood Park bathroom can be addressed as well on the north side of Lakewood. I'm sorry, south side of Lakewood. If there's any questions about anything else on the activity report, please ask.
That it, Jeff?
That's it for me, unless you got
Okay.
any questions for me.
Do we have any new business? Or is that all that was there?
I got something on the agenda for a comparison of splash pad projects. Just 2 days ago at the city commission, I provided a comparable exercise of comparable projects that have occurred over the last 3 to 5 years of different splash pad projects to the city commission for them to get an understanding of current prices of projects and how those comparable prices of projects relate to the size of the splash pad, the number of amenities, the number of features, when it was done, when the completion date was, what kind of circulation system it has, to get an understanding and get a basis of comfort, if you will, about what current construction prices are for commercial splash pads. And this is all in relation to Jerry Ivy Park. We wanted to be able to communicate to the governing body before we made a decision about how we move forward with a future project for a splash pad at Jerry Ivy. The city commission did vote to, and let me back up a minute. I gave the commission 3 options. Option one would have been to pursue or rebid or prepare to bid a project that would be similar to the former splash pad at Jerry Ivy. 2,500 square feet, 10 to 12 different features, maybe circular shaped or maybe a jelly bean shape. Something that's kind of what we normally would have of what our splash pads have been in the city of Salina. Option 2 was looking at a splash pad that would be similar to what they've already seen and what you've seen. Something that's a little more advanced, something more themed, something that would be more of a destination style splash pad. More features, maybe 15 to 18 features, whether they be elevated features or ground features. They can have some will be lit, some would have LED lighting, some would not. There that tunnel, that feature, that river feature going through the splash pad, a little more of advanced. And option 3 would be to not bid out, not prepare to bid out for a bid to rebid a splash pad project at Jerry Ivy Park. The consensus from the city commission was to vote for option 3, to prepare staff, to instruct staff to prepare bidding for a project that would be similar or the same or very, very similar in scope to what we previously proposed for that south end of Jerry Ivy, with those advanced features, with the theming, with that destination style of splash pad. So we are in the process of preparing to rebid that project. We wanted to make sure they had an understanding of the construction costs of what a modern commercially constructed splash pad looks like. We also wanted to get a consensus of price ranges for those, an understanding to the governing body what the different price ranges were, and wanted to let you know, the advisory board know that's the governing body's direction, was to go for that option 2, which was to pursue the project that we've already seen. And if you recall, I might have reported this in the past, that in January we presented that project. It's very expensive. It was much more expensive than what we had budgeted for and planned for. We had one bid. So, and ultimately the governing body at that time rejected that bid. So the goal is to get more bidders for a rebid project, to have some more capacity to control costs within the rebidding. So by controlling costs, we would then just isolate the base bid project as the splash pad, and then create several ad alternates for opportunities, if the city commission so chose, to consider and those separate pricing for that water feature, that water wall feature, and the Jerry Ivy police officer memorial update. And then identifying some additional features within the splash pad that would further control costs. So we would have a lot more options for the governing body to consider and if they wish to pursue those ad alternates, it would be at a certain cost. And then the ultimate goal is to have a splash pad at Jerry Ivy in 2026. We will not have a splash pad at Jerry Ivy in 2025. But we will have 2 splash pads in town that open May 1st or about May 1st, depending on the weather, at Centennial Park and Hawthorne Park. And that was my new business for you. Any questions about that?
Old business.
Any old business?
Yes, I have wanted to report back to the board about the National Fitness Campaign Fitness Court. I was not, at this point in time, I've not been able to get what the board requested, which was some long-term data. The National Fitness Campaign themselves don't necessarily provide that. That data is kind of under the ownership of the owner of that fitness campaign or fitness court. So I have not been able to get any long-term data. I understand the request and I understand why that request was made from the board. That's something I'm still working on. I have met with the Salina YMCA staff to kind of get an idea of their willingness to partner for a future fitness court. They seem to have some interest. However, their interest is based on the future development of that space around the river and the YMCA area where the soccer fields are, and they know that the river around there is going to be improved. There's going to be a trail. They say they have an interest, but not at this time, to partner with the city for a fitness court. I think they had interest in a fitness court studio, which, if you recall, has that ability to have classes on it. Mm-hmm. It's just a blank pad of concrete that's textured or has a coating on it. They see the opportunity to have classes on it, but again, I think it has, and I like that location. I think it's a good location. There's going to be a lot of activity around that area of Oakdale and Kenwood and the YMCA when the river comes in, and how the river comes in, and that's still kind of an ongoing process. But we're several years away from seeing that in reality, and their intention would be to wait and see. But they do have a future interest.
I'll say that I've been pondering that a little bit, and it's hard for me to imagine that people are just going to use it. I mean, we have this app. They're going to have this app, mm-hmm. But you have to probably put your data in, and who wants to put your data into another app? And if you're there by yourself and you're doing like stepping up and pull-ups, whatever, it seems like you need someone else there to be enthusiastic to help you keep
Right.
your enthusiasm up. I don't know. I can't
Right.
really imagine people using it a lot. I don't know what other people think.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I don't think people are just going to go use. I mean, some people will, but there's a lot of other opportunities, other facilities
Mm-hmm.
to do that as well, where there might be some instructor-led type stuff
Mm-hmm.
versus just going out by themselves.
Right. I did feel like the partnership with the Y and being semi-close to the YMCA
Right.
could provide those opportunities for a knowledgeable, certified instructor-led session and how to use this stuff. And I did see that. And I also I have heard and understand the board's point of view that it's not if you build it, they will come.
Right.
It's more like it is and I do have concerns long term about the maintenance of it and how it would be used. and I've heard your comments, and I've actually expressed those to some people. So I think the opportunity of the fitness court is a great idea. I just think it needs some more development and some more partnership, and maybe the best location. And I think we have some good locations, but maybe not the best location.
Well, and this is something that they approached you about. We haven't had the public come approach us and ask us for something like this.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's exactly right, Mr. Janaszek. It's something that they have people that develop and reach out to municipalities. They reached out to us, and I'm running the exercise.
Yeah.
And I also, the second thing I thought about was, we enjoy, I think, and I'm not a Salina native, but the way I see people interact with outdoors is really a natural sense. It's somewhat of a individual, personal thing. It's a dog walking thing. There is plenty of outdoor recreation, but not a lot of outdoor fitness, where fitness is somewhat restricted to indoor. YMCA, Great Life, Planet Fitness. So you see people walking and running, but that's solitary activity, not a exercise machine type. So it would be different for our community.
And they had the fitness trails, and they seemed that they were going to be a hot thing, and they just have never really come around.
I grew up in Berea, Ohio, which is a suburb of Cleveland, and the Cleveland Metro Parks were right across the street. So I spent my entire childhood in the woods, but there was a trail along there, and they had those wooden exercise opportunities every mile or so, every half mile, and they were really never used, even in the 80s, and other than kids playing on them. And more like a playground sense rather than an exercise opportunity. So,
I think you also mentioned that the park over on on Center, they have some there, but besides me trying them out like you did, I've never seen anybody ever work them. So.
Right. Definitely doesn't work in a playground sense, in a playground setting, in my mind. But and that's my update to the advisory board at this point in time. But I still need to get I still would like to get long-term data from a community, from a handful of communities that have these, and what the long-term maintenance looks like and the long-term use. And I have not yet been able to get that. And in Kansas, they're relatively new-ish.
Right.
There's just not a lot of long-term data from what I found. But
How about project status updates?
sure thing. So Matson Field is the construction, the contractor construction and regrade of the field is complete. Matson Field is the field on the north end of Markley Road, right adjacent to the new fire station that's being constructed, and they started construction on that fire station. Matson will be now seeded and graded and seeded, and we are seeding the field with I think it's a fescue, and then the infield will be seeded with a bent grass, which is a grass that can be mowed really short. It's going to take 2 seasons for this grass to really become mature. So it's going to be seeded now for the spring, and then it'll be reseeded in the fall, and with the intent to open the field up for play in spring of 2026. The landscaping staff that's under Dennis's wing will be paying attention to it, to be giving it some care and love to get it to look great, so it can be open in 2026. Meanwhile, this gives us also the opportunity for the fire station to use the area south of the new fire station as a kind of a layout yard for construction. It'll also give us an opportunity to redo the dugouts at Matson Field and the concrete that's underneath those dugouts. That's all needs to be refurbished and replaced. It'll also give us an opportunity to look at the fencing that's around Matson Field as well. Those are two identified areas, additional areas at Matson Field that we need to address. So that'll give us the time to do that project as well. Billbrook Concrete, as I reported before, the concrete plans that we had made earlier this year are complete, and that was the 2 shelter houses. That was a trail connecting the 10-foot sidewalk on the north end of Burke to the gravel trail, or the limestone trail along the river, and then also the concrete pad around the concession stand. That is complete. The dog park at Parker Park, which is near the Carver Center Animal Shelter area, they started this week. I think it was this week or last week? This week. And they started digging out soil to start pouring concrete. And all the items that have a lead time that are ordered, they will be here and showing up over time, including the shelter houses, the solar lights, and the dog watering bowls. Plumber will come in and plumb all that together for the dog watering bowls. Also, there's a water hydrant that will be located in each pod, so we can use that as irrigation, and that'll be exciting. But originally the thought was we were going to be able to be done in 90 days. It appears that the shelter houses are about 10 to 12 weeks out, so that'll be a little longer lead time, but I still think we'll finish by 1st of August. You think so, Dennis? And before about maybe end of June, end of July, sometime in August we'll be done. I reported on restroom remodels already. I reported on Jerry Ivy Memorial Park. That's where we're at with that. Should be 30 to 60 days. 30 days we'll have some drawings to look at. 60 days we'll be able to go out to bid and hopefully get those bids back. And Pestinger Family Stadium and Dean Evans, that area at Pestinger Family Stadium is being sodded this week. They're putting sod on the center field area outside the fence. It has heck of a slope. We were worried about seed actually staying there because once it rains, all that seed's just going to wash down because it's relatively steep. So we are sodding that area and seeding the rest. And again, our landscaping staff will be watching that area, making sure that seed gets established. We are protecting that area from hopefully people walking on it for some period of time. And the last thing about the Pestinger Family Stadium is the city portions of that project are almost complete. As you know, that field has been substantially completed for some time. The last thing that has to be done is the owner training for the light systems that are on both fields that were replaced, and the commissioning from the lighting contractor or the lighting supplier, making sure the light heads are properly adjusted so they do that at night. That's actually scheduled for this month on the 23rd, next week. So that'll be the last step for the city portions of the project. Salina Baseball Enterprises still has a plan to do a grandstand and some elevated seating areas, not seating. And if you have any questions about any of those or something I may have missed, let me know.
Has Parker Park always been called Parker Park?
It's called the full name is John Parker Jr. Park, and is named after John Parker Jr., who was a musician, and I believe it was, I couldn't tell you the year, but I think he had passed away, and his mother, which I believe her name was Dorothy Parker, came to the city commission and the advisory board, I think, from the documents I found, to request that park be named after her son.
I've been here since '87 until they put this dog park there. I thought it was Carver Park. just because it's Carver Center there.
Yeah. Staff typically call it Parker Park and shorten the name, but the full name is John Parker Jr. Park. And the park sign that's at the park does say John Parker Jr. Park, which can be a mouthful, John. But
My understanding that on dog parks, we're also going to expand the one out at Markley.
There's something we're working on now. There's two things that we've identified that were requests from people that came to this meeting. One is some additional shade and a kind of expanded gathering place. So based on the popularity of Barclay Park, we've identified the square footage and the additional concrete and the size of pavilion that we want to put in. It would be near the entrance. I have one quote for that. And I'm getting another quote from the contractor who's currently working on the dog park at Parker Park as a change order to that, to do that work at Barclay Park. The second part of that, which I don't have funding for, I don't have approved funding for, or an approved project at this time is, but there is support for it, to add on a fourth pod at Barclay Park, which would go to the south. That does require some additional development of that site to go south, because there's lots of pine trees there. The row of pine there, we would keep one row of pine trees, but we have to remove about 10 to 12 additional pine trees to make that happen. There's also some disc golf there that we would have to relocate, which I've already talked to the disc golf group about their willingness to relocate some of the disc golf tee pads that they have there. And so that's kind of a work in progress. Next step for that is is get a price for the fence. And we're waiting. We have a fence consultant. It's not a fence consultant. We have a fencing design and engineering agreement with a engineering firm to give us some help with putting together a bid package for fencing. And once they once we get that squared away, we'll add that to that scope, and so we can get an estimate of pricing for that additional fencing at Barclay Park.
Any other general announcements? None?
Do not.
Make a motion to adjourn.
I'm going to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All say nay, same sign. Meeting adjourned.